Nkwantrafo dwumadia ekoso no communications officer Emma Krowor NDC Albert Courty wono ene kasa ya wo kire mu se eniema hodo a ekoso ewo Krowor mansin mu hono nyade a eso ani kura efise kwan a wo mo efa so eche assembly members miensa ena afa kwan a mo fa so eto aba eyi municipal chief executive a wo potamu hono enyade a na efa mra kwan so kura na sa nipa miensa a wo mo eche wo mo no amma mo antumi anya kwanya anto aba na wo senka wo mo to edi municipal chief executive no enu ntine eye wo mo fa hodie bia yetietia so ni nyina no so we Local Government Act 936 year ewo 2016 amamrani mu a eyade a ni nyina etia nipa no efa hodie so na sesei apopo ena fei menteme ho ase ene niema esori ewo mpotam ho no se aban antwe nani ama mehwa NDC fu a wo mo ho no enyade a wo mbetena se ayenhwe han.
Over 100 policemen and other unknown forces were deployed at the venue on reasons best known to the MP and the MPP in Krowor. We were aware of the intent to manhandle any assembly member who failed to endorse the president nominee. The most unfortunate aspect of it is the sudden arrest of 3 assembly members on the eve of the election, which we found strange. It is very important for us to note that they were arrested some few hours to the next day of the election, and it hasn't happened in the history of Ghana before. These 3 men were perceived to be voting against the nominee. Their arrest and detention denied them their voting rights and were released on bail after the election. It is very unfortunate that you arrest and detain 3 assembly members who you feared to be voting against the president's nominee, and they were not allowed to vote against their voting rights. And these are people who were duly elected by Ghanaians to represent them at the assembly, and they were not allowed to vote based on the fact that it is believed that they will vote against the president's nominee, which is quite unfair and quite undemocratic.
Krowor NDC chairman Willinda Bote wadi enso ekasaye mu no wodi etudwa echire mu eniema hodo a ekoso ewo mpotamu ho a wodon esusu se ni nyina emfa mra kwan so
se enye adepa ye bu mraso na wo a wo ka se mra no de mu ni mu mra na mu bu mraso se ya e adepa ye nka se ye mpo bia se Joshua why oba be edwuma yeah, we win elections. I want our appointments. Yes, no family question. And one acre. Obechiwon for such a trivial issue, or more defending no interests. Or more born no japadia who buy because said America, so all come band assembly me no not ye pimo as who can demarcation, who can revenue. Because business is baby and I work war. And to baby almost the idea never see you know. Omo yi sa business no nyina akotashi na omo jesika no a omo de be develop tashi na nya no wa
semi assemblyman na ye betu MC aba na ya nka kire me ya ma me letter even presiding member krapo was so no ntro emma yen let on sign and someone see a meeting po ono krapo no one sign enti ye nim election e course no and as ade was September ya ye wie nim say ye wie minister wie no how come say nra and am over free police station yenim say election so ene na mo kidnap yen ye da ho ma de chi na 5 o'clock ye say na ye court nti yenim say 5 o'clock po ade achi po ye be yi mpo na si ye sanko headquarters ye ko twen wo sa na san ne ye mba court afi
mraso bedwane.
Well, still staying with that and following on from that pronouncement that the nomination of the MC-elect was illegal, Communications Officer of the National Democratic Congress in the Krowor Municipal Assembly has expressed disappointment in what he calls the illegal endorsement of Joshua Bote as a new municipal chief executive of the area. He's been addressing the media.
Many, if not all, may be aware. The president nominee for the position of municipal chief executive, Mr. Joshua Bote, was illegally approved by assembly members and government appointees early this morning under bizarre circumstances with the highest form of intimidation. First of all, the meeting to endorse the president nominee was not held in the municipality. It was held at the Nat Hall, which falls under the Lejokuku municipality. It is quite strange and unacceptable in all terms for the endorsement of the MCE of the Krowor Municipal Assembly to be held in a different jurisdiction. If the MPP and the Member of Parliament, Honorable Elizabeth Afoley Quaye, have nothing fictitious to hide from the good people of Krowor, why hold a constitutional meeting in a different town? The fear has always been that they may vote against the president's nominee. It is unacceptable for an assembly member who has been duly elected to be ignored in such an important event like election of an MCE. This we find undemocratic and against equal representation of the people. It must be noted that the MCE nominee was rejected twice and failed to obtain the 2/3 majority in the 2 previous elections. He garnered 5 out of 15 in the first election. In the second attempt to elect him, his vote reduced to 4 out of 15. This is very clear that the
municipality. Earlier, the Peshi Divisional Police Command arrested 3 assembly members for vandalizing billboards that belonged to Lekma Assembly. 3 were arraigned before an Accra Circuit Court.
The Krowor constituency executive of the National Democratic Congress have kicked against the election which confirmed the president's nominee for the municipal chief executive, Joshua Nibote. Described the process as flawed and undemocratic. A report by Frederick Clarence Williams.
Joshua Nibote polled 100% after all 9 assembly members present voted in his favor despite he failed to secure the nod in 2 earlier attempts. But members of the NDC in the constituency, the confirmation process was flawed.
The presiding officer, Mr. Romeo Safo, was not part of the process to elect the MP. Something we find unconstitutional and illogical. Therefore, it's only reasonable for well-meaning Ghanaians to ask who signed on behalf of the duly elected presiding officer.
They insisted some assembly members were not notified about elections with fear that they would have against the nominee.
It is unacceptable for an assembly member who has been duly elected to be ignored in such an important event like election of an MCE. This we find undemocratic and against equal representation of the people.
You're still watching Midday Live here on TV3. My name is Parkwesi Asari. Remember, you can join us live via Facebook. We're streaming live on Facebook as well as Twitter. Send us your views, comments, and suggestions on any of our top stories this hour.